All right, we're live from Laguna Beach, California today, and it just keeps rolling. We have a very special guest today. I'm really excited to have her on the show, and she's just an incredible woman. She's an entrepreneur and stylist and best-selling author. She's a model. She's been on TV reality shows. She's a coach and she's a marketing guru. Heidi Cortez, welcome to the I Own It show. It is so good to see you, and I am very grateful and appreciative of you coming on today. So thank you.
Hey, Ben, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. You have quite the resume yourself, so thank you for that nice introduction.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So, you're a bit of a Renaissance woman. And, between Howard Stern and best-selling author and model and TV reality shows and some of the things I touched on, I am so fascinated by your story. When I was 8 years old, I used to sell cigarettes in a bar in Highwood, Illinois, and I would accumulate cash. And I did that so I could buy Slurpees and candies when I was 8 years old. That
Of
was my
course.
that was my forte. But when you were 13, you started working. And being in Illinois, I grew up in the Chicago area, and you grew up in I think it's New Mexico. Is that right?
No, Nevada.
Oh, Nevada. So Nevada, the laws are a little bit different there with working and regulations. So walk me through, like, when did you start working, and what was the story behind it? And if you could share with our audience just a little background on you, because what I see in your story and that really touches me is, first of all, I love your work ethic,
Thank
but
you.
also just the story, because it really, your childhood ends up becoming your dreams.
Yeah.
And it's so impressive. And so I'll let you have the floor. Go ahead and share your story, because I think it's really incredible.
Thank you so much. Actually, I love telling this story about working at a really young age. So, of course, my first job, like most kids, was selling lemonade. I sold lemonade. I did sell coffee mugs door to door at the age of I guess around 12. I think I was in seventh grade. And my girlfriend and I, we made these coffee mugs from Costco, and we put candy in them. We put plastic over them with ribbon, and we started selling them door to door. And I was like, oh, this is going to be perfect. We're going to make so much money. I had borrowed like 25 bucks from my mom to get the supplies from Costco. And we started selling these coffee mugs, 5 bucks, 5 bucks. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. This is like great. We get to this one house, and this older woman, she said, how many coffee mugs do you have? And we're like, oh, I don't know, like 10. She's like, I'll take them all. And we were really excited. We were like, okay, we're getting rid of all these. Like, we're going to go to the mall or whatever. So she buys all of them, and she says, come into my house for a minute. I have to write you guys a check. And we're thinking, oh, great, checks. We don't take checks. And we were like too deep into it to say anything. We were nervous. We didn't have a lot of sales experience, or really any. So, we said, okay, you can write us a check. So we're in her house. She writes us a check, and we just take it. We give her all the coffee mugs, knowing that we were going to lose out, that we could never cash this check. We get home, and I get a call, and it's from the woman that bought all the stuff. And she says, oh, you little thief. I know that you're just a scam artist. Nice call with the matching baseball caps. And we were confused. Turns out she was the wife of one of our teachers in middle school, our history teacher. And when she asked us what we were selling for, we just said, oh, for our school trip. But it was her husband that was going on the school trip with all the kids. So she knew that we were lying. And that was the beginning where I was like, okay, I have to figure something else out. We have to nail this sales pitch down. We have to know what we're doing. And we actually got suspended from school for like 2 weeks for it, even though we weren't on school grounds. She and I had both grown up pretty underprivileged. My mom was a big supporter of always go out and work, do your thing. I support you, be an entrepreneur. And we had a single mom and my older sister and younger brother, and we had lots of love and lots of support, but we didn't have anything. So by the time I was Well, after I lost that job, I actually started driving at 12, and I would drive a little elderly lady to the grocery store. She taught me how to drive her car. She actually did have dementia, and I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know what that was, but I was driving this woman's car to take her to the grocery store, and she'd give me 20 bucks. So I was like, okay, well, this will hold me over for a little while. But once I turned 13, I wanted a real job. I really wanted to work in retail or something like that that was more consistent than driving at 12 when I shouldn't have been. So I actually borrowed my sister's birth certificate and social security card. She was 18 at the time. I said I was her. I filled out applications as Courtney, my sister's name, and I landed an interview at Ross, like Ross Dress for Less. And so, so Ross hired me. I had a name tag that said Courtney. I made about $4.75 an hour working full time. I pulled it off for several months, working during Christmas season, running the registers, showing up every day, proving myself, doing all of these things at Ross. And my sister, she was a little hustler too, because she was charging me like 30 bucks a week to use her name. So
I was going to ask you that. I was like, how did you cash the checks? Because you had to coordinate with her, didn't you?
well, back then you used to just sign the back of your checks, and there was a grocery store where I'm from where you would just cash the check. They didn't ask me for ID or anything. So I had no problems cashing them. That was the easy thing. But my sister was charging me like 30, 35 bucks a week to use her name. And she convinced me that she was going to have to pay taxes and I was going to mess up her social security. I didn't know anything about that stuff. So I gave it to her for a while. And after a few months, I was realizing how much of my paycheck she was taking. So I was like, hey, you know what? This got to stop. So I cut her off, and she got so mad that she called Ross and told them that I was her kid sister. I had stolen her wallet, her birth certificate. Ross didn't believe her. They were like, there's no way, no how. We love Courtney. She's worked here for months. My sister was so mad that they didn't believe her. She went down there in person and showed them that she was the real Courtney, and they fired me for fraud. And that was at 13. And that was the beginning.
Hey, that's a good experience because, you get fired and you realize, okay, I maybe had a setback and I got to get back on my feet.
Oh, yeah, I knew
those
it.
things help when that happens.
Yeah.
Good
So
for
that's
you.
really how it started. And I never looked back. I never stopped working. I just grew. And I knew that staying at one job or doing one position wasn't enough for me, that I wanted to have all these different businesses and do all these different things. Why was I going to limit myself to one thing?
So you're doing a lot and you have some different businesses and we'll touch on that. What part of your professional life do you enjoy the most and what motivates you today? You have all these past experiences working, like me, you didn't have money growing up. What do you enjoy now?
I think my favorite part of my career is coaching and mentoring other entrepreneurs and business owners. That really excites me a lot because then I'm able to take everything that I've learned through experience myself and teach others. So that really excites me. I feel like I have so much to share and so much love to give. So if I can help, help other people's lives or their business, I mean, that's the best reward I could possibly have.
And then what keeps you motivated? Just serving others or what really is the root that really
I mean,
motivates you
there's a
every
lot
day?
of things that keep me motivated. I'm inspired by others. I'm inspired by a lot of other entrepreneurs. My family keeps me motivated. The money keeps me motivated. The success of my clients keeps me motivated. I wake up every day always happy. I've never woken up in a bad mood. I'm always motivated.
So, I always want to ask you this. What's it like being a model? I mean, I know, I imagine it's not like Zoolander, the movie. It's physically demanding. It's emotionally demanding. What part of being a model did you like the most?
Yeah, so I haven't been a model for a long time,
Right.
but I actually coach and mentor aspiring models as well. The best part about it, I mean, it's a lot of hard work. It's not like Zoolander. And for me specifically, I use the entertainment industry to help my businesses succeed. I wanted the doors to open, and you briefly touched about me being on a reality show on the E channel, and that was really just to get on the show so that my tanning salon that I owned back home in Reno would be successful. So I wasn't like, oh my gosh, modeling is the best thing ever. I was more like, okay, we're going to use this to open up doors for other opportunities. And it worked. It helped a lot.
So what advice do you typically give, because you do coach models, give aspiring models that you're coaching?
Well, I let them know it's not easy. It's not always glamorous the way people make it seem. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of competition. I, advise them to put together portfolios to build their brand. And one thing that I always specifically say with models, which they're not the main people that I coach, it's mostly entrepreneurs and businesses, but since I have experience in that, some models do come to me. But one thing that I'm always teaching the models is to have something else besides modeling. Modeling's like not going to pay the bills, but if you can be a model and a basketball player, or a model and an artist, whatever it is, you can build a solid brand through that, and you can actually make more money. So that's the number one thing I usually try to get through to them and teach.
So one of the things I thought was really cool was the $3 marketing club.
Thank you.
What was the vision behind that, and what was the opportunity and the gap in the market when you started? Like, what did you see? Like, take me through your thought process, because I want to understand, like, when Heidi's going through her day and she has this aha moment, says, I'm going to start this. What was it during COVID that inspired you, and how did you come up with the pricing for $3? How does this work?
So I can't take all the credit for the $3 marketing club. I have an amazing partner who's also been a great mentor, and it was his idea. It was a marketing club idea. We didn't know it was going to be if it was going to be the $3 marketing club, the $10 marketing club. We didn't know. We talked about it and kind of just took notes of what would be best. We bought multiple domains. We bought $3 marketing club, $5 marketing club. We bought all of them because we weren't sure. And $3 marketing club just rang a bell to us. We felt that it would be a website that could help people during the pandemic. Everybody had $3, no matter what kind of situation you were in. And the $3 marketing club is really to help business owners and entrepreneurs learn how to do marketing so they don't have to hire these huge marketing agencies. It's the basics. So if someone doesn't know anything about email marketing or Instagram marketing, then they can learn from us for genuinely really $3 a month. We'll never raise the price on them.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
I love that. So you talk a lot in your coaching materials about self-branding.
Yeah.
And how do you approach your own personal brand? Because obviously I follow you and you have a great personal brand. So how has your approach to the Heidi Cortez brand evolved over the years for you?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I never wanted to stick to one thing. So, it's evolved really just from starting off as an entrepreneur and a model to going, really just full force towards an entrepreneur. I've done a lot of different things. I've worn a bunch of different hats, writing books and doing radio and television, all of it. So I feel like I've just evolved as a person, and I've just learned so much about the entrepreneurship side and the entertainment industry. So now I do a lot of public figure coaching, and I help people become public figures, grow their brand. But the Heidi Cortez brand, it's been an incredible journey, and I'm very proud and happy to be where I am today, especially from how I grew up and decided not to go to college. And my family was very supportive of opening up businesses. And, it's been wonderful. Not always easy, but it's been wonderful.
You know, you are an inspiration. I have a lot of women that work for me that are single moms. And I know you're a single mom, and
Hmm.
I know at 18 you had a child,
Hmm.
and I really value that because being a parent's not easy, and you had to raise a son, and you've
Hmm.
done a phenomenal job. I believe, is he still in the military or is he out
No,
or?
he's down at the military now.
Okay. So you raise a son. What did you learn being a single mom? And trans how did it transfer over to your success in business?
Well, I mean, having a child the second you turn an adult, you really are forced to grow up really fast. And, if I hadn't had a child, would I be in this exact same position as I am today? Probably not. I did grow up really fast, and I enjoyed being a mom. I always wanted to be a mom. So my child was planned for me because I just wanted to be young and get it over with. I only had one child, and I didn't have any ambition to have any more. I just wanted to spoil the one I have, and now he's all grown up, and I don't, I get to do whatever I want now, but it was incredible. I love it. He inspired me, and he actually would come with me to my businesses. It never stopped me from living my dream. It was just more difficult. I would bring my son to my business with me, and unfortunately for him, he'd have to stay at my tanning salon like 8 to 12 hours a day with me, but he was a good sport, and I like doing it.
If you had to roll back to your childhood, I'll tell you, I just recently did this a week ago, and it was
Mhm.
wild. If you had to go back to your childhood and just write down what your dreams were, are you living your dreams right now? Is this what you wanted when you were a little girl, saying, I want my own business, I want to serve others, I want to influence people? Like, if you can go back, what does that list look like if you had to write it down, you think?
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying is true. I am living my dream. I thought that it was going to happen a lot earlier, and I didn't know where God was going to take me. So each day, I would tell God, "Hey, I'm ready for the next project and the next adventure. Like, show me." And God would take me through all these different long journeys. Like for a long time, I just wanted to like get to the top already. Like, Lord, take me to the top. I'm ready. I'm ready. And God's like, nope, we're just going to put you through the slow way. We're going to teach you every single step so you know everything. And even when I would hire people that I thought maybe knew more than me, sometimes God would close the door on those relationships with those people and say, no, you're going to learn yourself. So, so yeah, I mean, it's been great though.
And I think the lesson for everyone knowing, and Heidi's the perfect example, is you got to keep pushing forward. You got to be persistent. You got to show up. You got to be present,
Mhm.
and you just have to keep pushing forward to create success in your life, which she has. And do you ever feel like your looks or career as a model ever made people more skeptical of what you're capable of? And has it influenced how you manage your personal brand or approach any aspect of your professional career?
Yes. So when I was in my 20s, a lot of people would not take me seriously. And like I said earlier, it wasn't like I really wanted to be this big, huge, famous model. I wanted just to use the modeling to open the doors for my businesses. And when I would talk to people about my business ideas or the businesses that I had, most people would close the door on me right away and say, oh, yeah, but you'd be great for this poster or something. And I actually remember I could not wait to turn 28 because I thought if I was 28, the people would take me seriously, and they didn't. And then I'd say, Lord, when are they going to take me seriously? I can't wait till I'm 30. And then 30 would come, and nope, still not going to take you completely seriously. I actually felt like I had to work harder for people to take me seriously. And then
Mhm.
once, everything started coming out, and I had all these, powerful positions and working with Sirius and getting a book deal with Simon Schuster and the television show and all these things, people were like, well, wait a minute, maybe there's something more to this girl. She keeps proving herself. And I did that stuff without a manager or without an agent. So the Sirius radio, the book deal, the television, I did it all by myself. I contacted these people. I did untraditional ways of marketing myself, and everything I was doing was working. So yeah, it was definitely hard for people to start taking me seriously, but I'm past that point now, and probably just another hardship that God wanted me to go through, I guess.
Well, yeah, you have to go through these tough times in order to, come out and start creating and create the life you want. I mean,
Mhm.
that's how it works. And so, but you should be proud of yourself for all your
Thank you.
achievements. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. And so, you talk a lot about how you leverage social media effectively
Mhm.
without spending a lot of money, which to me is like really impressive when I was reading this. Share more about your approach and how's it worked for you, and perhaps share some of the key so what's from your recent book, Get Verified and Profit Like a Boss.
Yeah, so social media is not going anywhere anytime soon. I was one of the first original influencers on MySpace. And,
Wow,
it's kind of,
you're really going old school on me, aren't you?
yeah, yeah, because I had to,
You're never supposed to ask a woman how old she is, but we'll start figuring that out real
I
soon.
was, I was born in 81.
Okay,
So, yeah.
well, there you go.
So,
We're not too far apart, about
it's
11 years. We're good.
still younger. No, just kidding.
That's right.
But yeah,
You look a lot younger than someone that was born in 81, so you're doing
thank
okay.
you. Thank you. I'm holding on. But
You're holding on.
yeah, so yeah, we started with MySpace, and when I owned my tanning salon in my early 20s, um, there was this like silly website where you would I don't know, it's kind of like you would vote on people's pictures or something like that. I don't remember what it was called. And I met this guy that lived in Los Angeles at the time. I lived in Reno, Nevada. And he said, "Hey, have you ever heard of this website called MySpace? You should get on there. It's kind of like voting on people's pictures, but not really." And I said, "Okay, sure." And we were bored at the tanning salon because it was new. We didn't have a lot of customers yet. So we had the dial up. We would unplug our credit card processor to plug in the phone cord to go to America
Like
Online.
online, right?
Yeah,
Everybody would go, "Ee."
go to
Yeah.
MySpace,
Uh-huh.
and I use MySpace as a huge leverage. I started getting brand deals and working with partners, getting paid for it. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Maybe there's something going on with this. And started building content and networking. Networking was the biggest thing. I could not believe it, because here I was, growing up in the 90s, where if you didn't know somebody, then you were just never going to meet them. There wasn't like really the internet. So I was just blown away that you could just send somebody a message and introduce yourself. And that's how it started. And that's actually how I booked myself on one of the TV shows on the E channel that I was on. I just started messaging people and used it to my advantage, started building a huge network. And then, of course, after MySpace, we had to transition to Facebook, and then Facebook to Instagram. So I had been in the social media business for a really, really long time, branding myself. And it went to helping others. And I started helping branding others. And I actually had discovered talent before and managed talent, and I would help brand them and their social media. So they started recommending me to friends. And I was like, okay, this is too much. I've got to start a social media agency because I have way too many requests from people. This is turning into something. So I started my social media agency in 2013. And that was actually one of my biggest successes, because I was really genuinely able to help people. One of the biggest things that I've always been asked over and over again is, Heidi, how do I get the blue check mark? So I decided during the pandemic to write Get Verified and Profit Like a Boss. And I wrote it. I really didn't do much with it. And then a few months ago, I was like, you know what? I've got to go back to that book. I've got to start adding all these other things. I've really got to get this word out there, because my DMs are full every day. Heidi, how do I get verified? So I created the book, Get Verified and Profit Like a Boss, for entrepreneurs and businesses that are sick of being scammed. They wonder how to do it. All these verified people, they don't talk about it. They don't talk about how they got verified. It's kind of like the secret club, and no one wants to talk about it. But I'll tell you. So that's how it started with the book.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
great.
kind of
You're
a long
you're
line.
you're a woman of action that knows how to pull the trigger, and that's what I like. I
Thank
love
you.
that. Love that. Let's talk about my favorite clothing line, Posh Boss. Okay.
Posh
And
Boss
I
LA.
told you I'm waiting for the men's line. Maybe I can be
Yeah.
the model or whatever. I'm a supporter. I love the concept because you took a niche and said young entrepreneurial women, okay,
Mhm.
are on a shoestring budget. Everyone that starts a business, okay, especially
Mhm.
if you don't come from money, it's stressful when you first get started. You know that.
Mhm.
And we go through life and you worry about cash flow and the next day and survival. You're in that survival mode, right?
Yeah.
And so the last thing you want to do is be blowing money on a lot of clothes. How did you figure out and say, you know what, I'm gonna help young female entrepreneurs and give back and say, let's create some clothes that people can afford, look and have style.
Mhm.
And when did this come about? And give me the backdrop of that business because I think that's a wonderful idea, and that's why I push you that because a lot of men start companies too and businesses, and they need to be acknowledged. So I think opportunity to get into that space as well if you want.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for that DM that I should start a men's line as
I'm
well.
telling you, I'll give you all the ideas. We'll grow. We'll grow.
So, yeah, it was easier to start working with the females at first because I am one. I have a passion and, I love clothes. And um, I started Posh Boss LA fall of last year. And, it I go back to how God started me with this project because I didn't know that Posh Boss LA was going to become Posh Boss LA. It started off as just, well, let me just try a Shopify website. So I started a Shopify website. And then I'm like, well, I got to hire someone to build all this stuff. And then God's like, no, you don't. Start watching YouTube videos and start doing this. So I started teaching myself how to create an online store and a boutique and find vendors. And I started doing all that stuff myself. And it just one day I was done. I did not know that I was going to start a clothing store. I had no idea. Just one day, God put it on my heart to do it. So I did. And, we don't design the clothes ourselves. We pick them from the vendors, but Posh Boss LA, every single item on our website is picked by me. So it's something that I'm going to wear myself or my friends wear. And, it's not just a bunch of random stuff. It's really affordable clothing for women that, they want to be able to have the style or, you know, um, just love clothes, but don't want to spend a fortune on them because you don't have to.
What are the price points you're touching on your line?
I think most of our items are around like $39 to $49.
Okay.
Of course, there's some that are less and some that are more. But I mean, rarely is anything over like 70 or $80. Yeah, which, we try to keep it around there. And, as times change, of course, so will our prices. But we always want to keep it, really affordable for women and something that I'm wearing myself.
So you're someone who's good to latch on to. Think about this. You can learn marketing for $3 a month. You can clothe a person and
Mhm.
you can coach them. It's like
Yeah,
you're like a one-stop shop.
that's
It's like
that's what
it's
I
like a
try and
beautiful
tell them.
thing.
Thank you. That's what I try and tell people. I'm like, hey,
Yeah, I
I can help
mean,
you with this stuff.
it's a no-brainer.
Thank
So
you.
we're all works in progress, okay? And the name of my show is I Own It, and it's being responsible for everything in your life.
Mhm.
Was there a time in your life that you didn't own it where you just were trying to keep it together and what was that moment in your life that you could share that can inspire young women out there listening?
Well, being an entrepreneur, you have a lot of highs and lows. And we see a lot of these famous entrepreneurs on social media and they've went through a lot to get there. We just see the successful part of it. Um, so I think that there was definitely times in my life where I had, thought, when's the next paycheck coming? When am I going to make more money? And that that part was the most difficult for me, because you want to give up sometimes, but you know that no matter what, you have a plan, and the Lord wants you to be here for a reason. Like, the Lord wants you to tell other people about your success or your story. So don't give up. And I've actually owned my failures and I've owned my success, and they go hand in hand. Without my failures, I wouldn't be a success.
Yeah, I mean, you have to go through tough times to kind of break through where you
Mhm.
want to go.
Yeah.
So you're in great shape, okay? And I'm big into health. Everyone that knows me. What do you do? Because as an entrepreneur, it's good to have your mind and body healthy. It's
Mhm.
important to get through your day. What do you do? Like a lot of women out there, they're managing weight, their emotions, and you have a lot of aspiring women that look up to you. What can you share that you do to stay healthy and stay fit? Like what's a daily basis? What do you do on a weekly basis that you could share?
Well, gosh, thank you so much. Like, I'm like, I really don't feel, always the most confident or whatever, but, it happens to the best of everyone feels that way sometimes. But what works for me the best is intermittent fasting. And I like that. I actually feel like I have more energy when I do it. Are you a fan of that as well?
I That's what I do. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I haven't eaten lunch yet.
Same. Yeah,
So,
same. And I did have a cup of coffee earlier and some water.
okay.
And
Okay.
but that's what I love to do, because I feel like I have more energy. And my mom and my sister actually do it as well. And it works really well for the both of them. And I think that everybody's different. Some people can do it. I have close friends that don't like it. They prefer to, eat less or 5 small meals a day or whatever. But I really think it's up to each individual what works for them. But this for me gives me most energy.
One of the things I want to touch on was your mother. When I was starting in business, my mother was my figure too. That when I was struggling, I was 23 years old at the time. My dream as a kid is I always wanted my own business. I always wanted to control my own destiny, make my own decision. I didn't want to have to listen to someone controlling me. I'm sure you have a similar sentiment. My mother said to me, she said, always believe in yourself because I believe in you. Your mother is important to you, which
Mhm.
I really, really touches me because I have the same sentiment with my mom. Share with me your relationship and share what did she tell you when you were young? Because obviously, you don't come from money. You're starting a business. You might have a little bit of fear inside you, saying, "Is this going to work? And what am I going to do with my life?" And I think a lot of women out there or men that are starting a business, they go through the same experiences you and I went through.
Mhm.
Tell me about your mom.
Well, my mother's a saint. She really is. She is my biggest fan and number one supporter. Um, we do not live in the same state. She lives across the country from me. But we talk all the time. And when I was a teenager, I thought I could do whatever I wanted, and I didn't need any rules. And I really did do whatever I wanted a lot of times, because my mom was working so much. She was working, like 50 or 60 hours a week sometimes. So I really just did whatever I wanted. I didn't think I needed a mom, but I really feel so blessed that my mom, she always supported me, always supported all of my ideas. And recently I said to my mother, I said, Mom, thank you so much for listening to all these like silly ideas that I've had that they never turned into anything. And my mom says, Oh, what are you kidding? My pleasure. She's all, they're not silly. You're a genius. Like, my mom literally calls me a genius. And she says even all of my businesses that didn't take off or that I chose not to do at the end, she still says they were great ideas. I mean, she really motivates me. And my mom's very, very smart. She skipped 1 or 2 grades when she was younger. I just really think the world of my mom, and just a smart woman. And so, yeah, we have a very close relationship. And without her, I would not be where I am today either.
That's called unconditional love,
Yeah,
which is a
she
beautiful
really
thing.
has. And she was
That's
tough on me. She was tough. I
good.
mean, She spanked me till I was 16 years old. She took away my car keys. One time I had to write, I will not scream bloody murder in the house 10,000 times. It took me months to do. I don't know if you can even do that now to kids, but back then my mom, oh, she got me. She always won.
Yeah, well, today's society is a little bit different. Like you can't touch a kid, you can't spank them. The disciplining is a lot different these days. But good for your mom. Hopefully, she smacks you if you need it, even as an adult. So
No, she didn't. But you know what? When she did when I was a kid, I would run to the bathroom and I'd put a washcloth on my butt so that it hurt as bad. And she never knew. Now she's
see,
going to wash.
you were entrepreneurial already, and you didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
Clever.
Oh, yeah, I knew.
So we're gonna wrap up with our three questions, and I've been wanting to ask you these for a while. I was looking forward to you coming on and seeing you. So you're now a very sophisticated, educated, and successful lady, and you've been through a lot. And kudos to you. And you're in the studio with me in Laguna Beach. And by the way, you are always welcome to come down and be on the
Thank
show.
you.
I think it would be great in studio with you. So we have a couch. You can't see it, but and I said, Heidi, get on the couch and lay down. And you lay down, and I say, all right, now who you are, go back to when you're 16 years old. Okay. The young girl who worked at Ross Dress for Less, you know, sisters, Courtney, all the things you went through. Okay, Courtney taking money from you. You know, God bless her.
She's smart.
But she's really smart. Hopefully, I get to meet her. And so we'll bring her next on the show. So
Yeah.
you're laying on the couch, okay, and you can go back and talk to your 16-year-old self, being the person you are today. What advice? What are you telling yourself to that you could educate your 16-year-old self, knowing what you know now?
One of the biggest problems sometimes I still have is being very hard on myself. And I think I would tell my 16-year-old self not to be so hard on myself. And that's really been my biggest challenge, is wondering if I'm doing something good enough, or if you're funny enough or attractive enough. All those things have crossed my mind throughout my career at some point or another. So if I could go back and tell my 16-year-old self, like, don't sweat it and have faith, because when I was younger, I didn't have the faith that I have today. Now I just feel like, oh, it's gonna work itself out. It's gonna be okay. And I still get stressed, but not like I did when I was younger. And I just maybe had times when I didn't believe in myself as much as I should have. So those are things that I would tell my 16-year-old self, and any 16-year-old out there right now.
Great advice. Great advice.
Thank you.
So it's our last day on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. God forbid. You and I are having our last meal together. What are we eating and what are we drinking? It's your choice.
Okay, well, I don't know if you would like this, because some people don't like this.
Hey, it's our last day on earth. I got to roll with you. It's your choice. Yeah, whatever you choose. What are we doing?
And no one's ever asked me this before, but I actually have a favorite food, and it's called Hawaiian grilled cheese sandwiches, and
What is that?
it's sourdough bread with
Okay.
Swiss cheese
Ooh,
and pineapples, and it's grilled
okay.
like a grilled cheese. It only has
Okay.
those ingredients. I'm actually I don't eat red meat. Some people put ham
Okay.
on it, or
Yeah, I would think ham would be pretty good on it.
yeah, a lot of people. My mom puts the ham on it, but for me, yeah, the grilled cheese with pineapple on it is my favorite sandwich and food in the entire world. And when I was a little kid, that's what I wanted every year for my birthday. So it was not a phase. That's still my favorite food.
So is that like it's grilled or like a
Yeah, it's
panini
grilled.
style? Okay, good.
It's grilled like a
All right.
grilled cheese, but instead of just Swiss, it has pineapples, and it's delicious. So if anyone's watching this, I swear, try it, give it a whirl. I know some people don't like pineapple on their pizza. I do,
I
but
love pineapple on my pizza.
same.
Want to hear
So
my favorite? Want to hear my favorite pizza?
it,
Well, you don't eat meat, so this would be
pineapple and
my
pepperoni.
this would be my last meal that you'd have to deal with. I would have
Oh,
ground beef, jalapenos, onion, green pepper, and pineapple. Well
oh,
done.
On
You
pizza.
make that pizza, you have me at hello.
Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds delicious. I just happen not to eat a lot of
Well,
that
we'd have
stuff.
to get rid of the ground beef. We do half ground beef. So
Yeah.
what are you washing down this grilled cheese with pineapple delicacy that you're creating?
Okay. I love iced tea.
Okay. All
So
right.
iced tea
Sounds good.
probably.
Sounds
Yeah.
good. It doesn't sound really filling though, that sandwich. I think we'd still be hungry, don't you think? Do we get dessert?
I eat like two of them and it's pretty good to me.
Okay.
I
Maybe why
guess
you're
for
so
some
skinny.
people. Well, thank you.
So, in our studio, we have electric guitars and drums and a grand piano to the side of me here. If you could have any or musician or band, they could be alive or deceased, come into the studio and play us a song. It's your choice. Who is coming in and playing us a song?
The Beach Boys are my favorite band. So even
Oh,
though they existed and popular way before I was born, I love the Beach Boys. And I think it's even more fun now that John Stamos is in the band. And yeah, Beach Boys are my favorite band.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
What's what's the best way to stay engaged with you and follow you, like, all the different platforms, your website, like educate our audience because you are inspiring. You're inspiring to young women out there. I encourage anyone that is getting started in branding and social media, and you have a tight budget. Heidi is a perfect person to kind of launch you to where you want to go in the stratosphere. So, what's the best way to follow you?
Thank you. I would love for people to check out HeidiCortez.com. You can contact me there through my website. And at Heidi Cortez is my Instagram. At Heidi Cortez Likes is my Facebook. And at Heidi Cortez is my Twitter.
Great, great. Well, Heidi Cortez, thank you so much for coming on the show today. You're so delightful and really just a pleasure to have you on and share your message with inspiring entrepreneurs. And I'm very grateful that I get to spend time with you and see you. And if you're interested in following the Ben Reinberg I Own It podcast, drop kick that right hand button and click subscribe on YouTube. To follow me personally, go to benreinberg.com for all your content. And feel free if you want to learn about commercial real estate or you're interested in investing in our brand new fund, feel free to go to alliancecgc.com. I will be teaching commercial real estate all over the world starting in 2023. I'm very excited to serve others to teach how you can build wealth through commercial real estate. So stay tuned. Feel free to go on my personal website and see how we can help you create the life of your dreams. Heidi Cortez, what a privilege. Thank you. It's great to see you. You look fabulous, and just keep rocking, keep inspiring, and keep being that wonderful soul that you are. So thanks again.
Thank you so much, Ben. It's been great talking to you. And thank you so much for being so cool and down to earth. I appreciate that. And I love that we can just be ourselves and communicate. So thank you so much for having me. And I will be talking to you soon.
Cool.